Welcome to our overview of the National Bank Direct Brokerage My Investment Dashboard tool. The tool is accessible by clicking the M.I.D button at the top of the page. When you first log in, you will be presented with this hub in the center of the screen within the number 1 workspace, which is the blank space in the back. The first thing we can do is click the Market Overview screen, or button, which shows us the market overview that we have created for you, which includes main indices from North America and also some sub-indices. The last one here, United, is the VIX index, volatility index. You'll also find some commodities and currencies. And scrolling down, we can find index constituents for some of the indices that are listed above. Navigation within the tool is mainly done through the main menu button, which is at the very top left-hand side of the screen. Clicking the main menu, the layout is first level menu on the left, second level menu, and then the information available on the right-hand side. In the first level menu, we have widgets, portfolios and lists, overviews, and settings. The first 3 are the same options we saw in the hub first login page. We chose the overview. Now what I want to do now is very quickly show you the settings page. Within this page you can change your preferred language, you can change color options, etc. In this case I will go from the dark theme to the light theme. Any changes made here are auto-saved, and so if I wish to go back to the page where we were at before, all I need to do is click on the X button, and this will send us back to our number 1 workspace. Second thing we will do is look at widgets. The way the M.I.D works is by adding screens or windows or widgets, which are all the same thing, to workspaces. We have the Market Overview widget open now. Let's add others. First one we'll try to add will be a list. So within the main menu, under widgets, the first option, we'll find the list widget, and we can either click here on the big icon or click add to add it to our page. It's now added, and I can click the magnifying glass or search function and add a symbol or a name from the list. So I can type NA for National Bank. It comes up. By clicking it, it automatically populates the list. I can add others, for instance, BCE, for example. And perhaps I want to add BCE, but trading in the US market. To do that, I'll again type in BCE, but you'll notice that only the main market, which in this case is the Canadian market, shows up. What I need to do to add the US quote on BCE is click the 3 vertical dots left of the symbol or the name and click All Markets. Another widget or window will show up where I can find all the markets, all the North American markets where BCE is trading. So in this instance, I can see that the USD is CBOE1. I will drag and drop it to my list by clicking the left mouse button and dragging it directly, dropping it here within the list. I can now close this All Markets widget, and I'm left with my list here. Another way to add symbols to your list would be to use the index constituent function. For instance, I could perhaps wish to add the Dow Jones Industrial Average or some of the Dow Jones Industrial Average stocks to my list. I'll select my market overview by clicking on the title bar, and within here I can scroll down with the mouse wheel or simply by clicking the scroll bar on the right hand side. And from here I can simply drag and drop any one of the stocks to my list. I can show more than 10 items per page. There are 30 stocks in the Dow. Let's say I want to show off all 30 by clicking 50. And from here, I can add stocks that interest me. I can add, say, Amazon if I want. I could add Apple. I could add Boeing and, say, Caterpillar, etc. I'll click again on the title bar of my market overview to scroll back up and view my indices. One thing I like to do is to keep this open, but resize it so that the indices show up and remain on the left-hand side. I can now reposition my list by simply clicking on the title bar and repositioning it like so, and resizing it like this, for instance. I can keep it small also if I want. Let's keep it small for now. Okay, perhaps we now want to add a chart to our page. We have one here for the overview on the indices, but if I want to add a chart for stocks, I'll go back to my main menu and then choose the chart widget. I'll add it and position it strategically on my page. I can, of course, add a symbol by clicking on the search button here and typing in any symbol of my choosing, and it will populate the list. However, more efficiently, what I can do is I can link my list to my chart. To do this, we need to put them within the same broadcast menu. The broadcast menu is defined or chosen or set up by clicking the three dots that are here on the top left-hand side of our widget. So I'll put the chart within group 1. I'll also put the list within group 1. And why not the overview within group 1 as well. By doing this, by clicking on any one of these stocks or indices, the information will automatically be transferred, or the stock symbol or the index symbol will automatically be transferred to my chart, like so. I clicked Dow Jones. Here it is in my chart. And now I wish to click National Bank. And here it is on my chart again. The next thing we want to do is make sure that we don't lose our list, our personalized list. How do we do this? Very simple. You click on the menu within the list. So we need to select the list, open the list menu, and then click Save Watch List. I can name it and save it. Now, even if I close it down by mistake, I won't lose it because I can retrieve it very easily by clicking the main menu, adding a list, and then within the list menu again, choose Open List. These are predefined lists that you can look at. In this case, I want my watch list, which I called NBDB video, and here it is. I'll also need to put it back into my broadcast menu, because if I don't do that, by clicking on any one of these names, let's say Boeing, you'll notice that what happens is a fact sheet will pop up, which is an interesting screen, and we'll leave it here for the time being. The fact sheet allows you to see some pertinent information on dividends. You can see a quick chart. You can see news, performance, company information, etc. However, if I want this linked to my chart, what I can do is simply add it to group 1. I can add this to group 1 as well, so that if I add a stock within the fact sheet, like so, it then automatically populates my chart, and I can even very quickly just drag and drop that into my list. Now you'll notice that I've added NVIDIA, which wasn't there before. I didn't save the list, but if I say open a new list and I go retrieve my NBDB video list, it now includes NVIDIA. If you have the same list open on more than one workspace, modifying it in one of them will automatically modify it in all the others, as long as it has the same name. You may also want to change the column headings within your list. To do this, you'll click on the small arrow at the top of the list widget, and this brings you to the personalization menu. By default, you'll find quotes. There are other predefined column layouts. However, you can choose to define your own. To do this, you'll click on the pen icon, perhaps it's a pencil, and then you can add or remove any information you don't want. For instance, I can remove the last trade date, and perhaps I want to add the ticker. And so to do this, I can either look through each one of these menus to find it, or if I know the name of what I'm looking for, I'll type ticker, and then the ticker appears. What I'm doing here is I'm dragging and dropping the ticker wherever I want it in my menu. Let's say I want it towards the top, just after the name, like so. By clicking OK, my headings are now modified. I've added the ticker. I can save this column layout, which is now called custom, by giving it a name. So I'm calling it NBDB VO. This is now saved. I can modify it again by clicking the defined column icons or icon, and then I can say remove the market and click OK. I can also perhaps add some dividend information by typing in dividend and say I wish to have the X dividend date at the very end on the right hand side. Okay. Now I do need to save this new layout, and so to do this, instead of giving it a new name by clicking the same icon here, I'm going to save this one under the same name by clicking the Save Column Layout icon, the one in the middle. I'm now satisfied. I can close down this menu with the same arrow at the top. Now perhaps this is a bit too small or a bit too big. Now we can resize the font and the screens or the widgets within the My Investment Dashboard by using the zoom function of the browser. So in most cases, like this Chrome browser, this will be found under these three dots on the top right hand side. We're now zoomed at 80%. We can go back to say 100% to make it bigger. But we can still access all the information by scrolling down and then scrolling right. Let's go back to an 80. Oh, there's another way to do this. To zoom in and out, you can click the bottom left button on your keyboard, which is Control. Keep it held down, and then scroll in and out, in or out with the mouse wheel. Scrolling out, back to 80%, and I can leave it this way. Another function you can add, of course, to this workspace is news. To add news, I will again click on the main menu. I can choose either the full news widget or the news headline widget, depending on your preference. In this case, I'll add the news headlines, and I can reposition it on the top right-hand side here. And I can, again, link it to my broadcast menu so that I can personalize the news to the stock I have selected. Now, perhaps you want to view your portfolio within the My Investment Dashboard. Most likely you do. Let's do this in a second workspace. So again, we're presented with the hub. Initially, what we did is we clicked the market overview. We have access to our lists, the ones that we created, which are here, or some predefined lists that we've created for you. However, in this case, we wish to add our portfolio. So you can add an individual account or you can add the root account by clicking on the name. Okay, so this is about the right size for our portfolio. Of course, you can personalize the column headings within the portfolio as well. By default, you'll find the gain loss. However, I could, if I wanted, apply the saved column heading from before, M.I.D video, or we could give it, or we could personalize it any which way we want it. In this instance, I'm going to keep the gain loss. You'll notice that the name and ticker are stacked, and the change and net change percentage and net change are stacked as well. This allows us to have fewer columns. However, it makes each line thicker. So we may want to trade directly from here. So there's a few ways to trade. Before I get to the trading section, let's just add a list. And we'll add our same list from before. Open list. And our watch list is called M.I.D video. We will give it our predefined M.I.D video column heading. Close that. It's about the right size. I can trade within my list or within my portfolio. So for instance, I can sell my one Kinross gold share by clicking the trade icon, choosing, well, the account is already chosen for me here, but I could choose an account here. I could choose transaction type, which would be a sale. To limit price. We have currently a bid of 1205, ask of 1206. I want to sell at 1225, one share. And this is by default good for the day. Of course, could be good for 60 days in the future. I can continue. And as per usual on the M.I.D website, there's a confirmation screen where you can review your order. And once satisfied it is correct, you can submit it. And your order. To review the open order status, of course, you have this button at the bottom, which you can click, open it. I can see that this Kinross sale is currently open. Another one has been canceled. 2 other trades have been canceled. I can change or modify my order by clicking the modify button. And then the cancel button is self-explanatory. Let's just cancel it. There we go. So you could keep this order status open at all time. If you want to refresh the order status, you could click the refresh button. Or you can simply use within your portfolio the order status, which was hidden because I had resized it. Here we are. So the order status can be accessed quickly by clicking that button. It will pop up. You can review your orders and close it back, or leave it open at all times. Another thing you can do, of course, is add alerts. So for instance, if I wish to be alerted when my Enbridge stock reaches $55, I will click add to alerts, and I want T5 on the quote, could also be on bid or ask, and activate it. Notice now that on Enbridge, I have an alert on the quote above 55, below 48, etc. I can deactivate the other alert by simply moving the toggle switch, or delete it altogether by clicking the delete button. No more alerts are active on Enbridge at this point. We can leave this open if we want, or simply close it down. It will, of course, be recalled automatically whenever we add a new alert. It is also possible to view options and option chains within the My Investment Dashboard environment. To do this, of course, there's a widget for that. So by clicking the main menu and choosing the option chain widget, drag it, say here, for instance, and link it to the same group 1 as we have for our portfolio and list. By the way, you can review how your widgets are linked on any given workspace by clicking the X-ray button at the top of the page. And here we can see that the option chain is within group 1, and actually the others not linked. And so we just did this now. by linking them all to group 1 and closing. So let's say I want to find the options on Boeing. By clicking Boeing in my list, automatically the option chain has updated. I can review it here. Of course, we can trade any one of these options, but we can filter them in a few ways. We can filter them by maturities by choosing the maturities here. So for instance, I want the October monthly, or we can filter them by strike prices by clicking on our preferred strike price. Boeing is at 158. I would like to see the $160 options. And here they are for all available maturities. By clicking back on any one maturity, I'll go back to the strike view for that specific maturity. It is not possible at this time to personalize the column headings within the option chain. However, positioning your mouse or hovering above the I will show you a lot of information that you could wish to know on any specific contract. If you've subscribed to level 2 quote, which is market depth, you can add that specific widget as well by going to the widget page and choosing order book. Let's just close actually this option chain and add our order book here for visibility's sake. We'll link it to group 1, and we can now see the order book on BCE by clicking BCE. Here we go. Order book shows you, of course, market depth, and you can trade directly within the order book. Of course, personalization options are endless. We can move the order book and add, for instance, we're going back to the same thing, a chart, and perhaps very quickly, a fact sheet. And we can quickly link them to our same group 1 with our X-ray page. Now when I click on Enbridge, I can view my chart. Now, perhaps you want to personalize your chart with studies or overlays. To do this, it's quite simple. You can, for instance, choose the 1-year chart by default. We have the candlestick. You may not like this. If you want to change the display, you can change that to a bar or a line. Let's leave the candles for now. And go to studies, and perhaps you want M.I.D, perhaps you want RSI, perhaps you want to add some moving averages. You can add, I think, as many as you want. Let's say moving average for 50 days, we'll leave it in red, and we can add another moving average for 200 days, and then change the color of that one to yellow. So we now have our moving average price of 50 days, our moving average price of 200 days, our RSI, and our M.I.D at the bottom. You can always modify these things by clicking the scroll wheel that appears when you hover over these plots. The system will remember your preferences so that if you click on another stock, your overlays will remain. And if you close down the dashboard and open it up again, your personalization will remain as well. We will look at one last widget. For this, let's go back to the first workspace, and we can remove, for instance, the headlines. What we'll do is we'll go back to the main menu and add the top and flop widget. Move it to the right-hand side. And from here, what you can do is for any index, for instance, the S&P 500, we can drag and drop. So I'm clicking it and dragging it to our top and flop widget. What did this? Well, of course, this shows us the top and the most well-performing and worst-performing stocks within that index.
Two final notes. First, you'll notice an R in the black circle here in the quote list. This indicates it's a real-time quote. If you see a D in that black circle, it indicates a deferred quote. Now this column heading is called quality in the column definitions. Second, you'll notice on the top left-hand side of the screen, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 workspaces to choose from. The two arrows to the right of those can show you 5 more workspaces, 6 through 10.
This concludes this overview of the National Bank Direct Brokerage My Investment Dashboard tool.